that person will be entitled to receive notice of the decision in that case and will be entitled to participate in a subsequent appeal or rehearing. Individuals who are not given party status may nevertheless ask questions and present evidence, but will not receive notice of the decision and will not automatically be entitled to participate in any appeal or subsequent rehearing. If you desire to be a party, we ask that you sign an entry or appearance form at the appropriate time. And although each party will receive a written copy of the decision, the mechanics of typing and signing the decision will take approximately 4 weeks. We ask that each person who asks a question or makes a statement first state his or her name and address for the court reporter. Now, lastly, in the interest of time, I will administer the oath or affirmation to all applicants and to everyone and anyone who anticipates making a statement with respect to any of the hearings this evening. So at this time, will you all rise, please? Under penalties of perjury, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. Stay standing. We'll salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Beth, the cases this evening have been advertised and posted in accordance with the MPC and the Sunshine Law.
They have been.
Thank you. For everybody's knowledge, not only are we doing this in person, but we're also on Zoom. And at this time, do we only have Nate on?
We have Don Nickerson from Lesser Lumber, Nate, and
Okay.
2 others. I don't know their phone numbers. I don't know them.
Beth, one of them is John Bingham.
Okay.
Oh, hi, John.
Hi, Elam.
Okay, everyone, John Bingham is a member of this board. He is participating by the Zoom. Okay, gentlemen, you have received copies of the July 17th board minutes as presented by the secretary. There are no additions, deletions, or corrections. I'd ask to have the minutes approved as submitted. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Seeing none, can I have a motion then, please? So moved. Moved by Mr. Kyle. Can I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Hanson. Any discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, Mr. Hanson? In favor. Mr. Luce? Abstain due to absence. Mr. Kyle? In favor. Mr. Bingham?
In favor.
And I will also vote in favor. The board minutes of July 17th, 23 have been approved by 401 vote. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. Beth. Old business.
None.
The continuation of the 2462 case then?
Yep. Case number 2462. It was continued from the 7/21/23 meeting. Lesser Lumber, Inc., 2008 Marietta Avenue, seeking a special exception to expand a non-conforming use and structure and variances for maximum lot coverage, non-conformity limited to lot of record, increase existing dimensional non-conformities, and maximum building area.
Okay, is somebody here from Lesser Lumber? I don't think that's on. Better? That's better. Okay, is there anyone in the audience that wants to be a party to this case that wasn't before? Anyone on Zoom? Seeing or hearing none? All right, you can continue, sir.
Just as a refresher, Mark McGreckey with Pentair Engineering here on behalf of Lesser Lumber. And there are 2 gentlemen in the audience tonight Casey Lezer with Lezer Lumber, and Mike Biazzi with Lezer Lumber as well. They were both on Zoom last time, and Don Nickerson from Lezer is on Zoom as well, so. I think where we last left off is we were pretty much done presenting our information, and were informed that there were some past cases relative to, I guess, when it was J.H. Brubaker. We obtained those cases from the township and reviewed them ourselves. We amended our application to include those cases on the application. And then we also amended our written application to clarify that we were requesting expansion of an existing nonconformity with regard to the, and we were also expanding an existing nonconformity with regard to the building area that we were proposing. Other than that, I believe the board requested a list of the variances. I do have a copy of that list I can hand out to you if you didn't receive that copy.
Please.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Other than that, I mean, I can refresh over the requests that we made, but I really wasn't planning on making the presentation over again.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Hanson.
perhaps Mr. Hess should explain to the rest of the board members what we talked to him about today.
Okay, before we get into that, is everyone willing to just have the testimony from last and move on from there?
Yes.
Okay. Jason.
Yeah, so there's a question that since there were previous decisions, there was a question on the case number 974, which is, looks like from 1994, when the property was owned by J.H. Brubaker. And there was an approval given at that time with conditions. And one of the first condition was that the granting of the relief requested by applicant in this decision shall not be considered hardship relating to applicant's residential land to the south of the property. Applicant, its successors and signs shall not be entitled to the granting of any variances in the future relating to the development of applicant's residential land based either in whole or in part upon the development or condition of the
Jason.
property.
Jason, excuse me.
Yeah.
Talk into your mic a little bit. I'm not sure everybody on the.
Okay, sorry about that. I'll just start that last sentence again. Applicant, its successors and assigned shall not be entitled to the granting of any variances in the future relating to the development of applicant's residential land based either in whole or in part upon the development or condition of the property in applicant's industrial land. So that residential land was that's being referred to in there. I went back and looked through the file to make sure that I was aware of exactly what was being referenced there. And that was the land to the south of this whole parcel that has since been developed as a 55+ community. So that's actually defined in the application in paragraph 11 of the findings of fact. So that condition should not impact the decision today because that's completely developed land that was, it's not part of anything that the current applicants own.
Thank you.
Okay. Questions of the applicant, Mr. Hanson.
Mr. McGreckey. There's a finite amount of land here. And I could see in the future, there could be some additional additions to some of the existing buildings, which I don't have so much problem at. But one of the conditions that I would push for is that there will be no more additional residential properties added to this property. If your client, would your client agree with that?
Excuse me one second. Could you go up to the mic and just state your name and address so it's on the record, please? Thank you.
My name is Casey Lesler. I'm Vice President, Lesler Lumber Company. I live in Kerwinsville, Pennsylvania. So as far as acquiring other residential properties, we don't have any plans to. It's just this one made the most sense to us because it obviously borders the corner that we need. So I don't have a problem with that. We just needed this to be able to expand a little bit of employee parking that we need and be able to grow just a little bit to that. But I wouldn't see us having any desire to purchase the other two lots that are to the left of that, west, I guess, to that property.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Hanson?
I'm good, thanks.
Any other questions? Mr. Bingham, do you have any questions of the applicant?
No, I do not. I read all of the information today and I'm comfortable with where we are.
Okay, thank you. Jason, questions?
I have none.
Beth? Okay, anyone in the audience have any questions or, excuse me, anyone in the audience or on Zoom have any questions for the applicant? Seeing none or hearing none. Anything else that you want to present before we conclude testimony?
We don't.
You or
have
the
any-
other two gentlemen?
We have nothing further.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience or on Zoom that have any comments, pro or con to this application? Seeing or hearing none at this time, then we will conclude testimony in case number 2462. We will take administrative notice of case number 198, 619, 974. Also take notice that the original application has been amended to stipulate the cases that were just mentioned. We will also add into evidence applicant's exhibit 1, the Brubaker final subdivision plan, which is consisted of 5 pages. Applicant's exhibit number 2, which were 3 pictures, and we should have had this done before, but the submittal this evening, thanks, with section 2 variance request as provided by the applicant will be marked as exhibit number 3. Give a copy. We'll get it in that. Oh, okay. He's giving you one. Okay, with that, gentlemen, I will listen to a motion in case number 2462, if there is one at this time.
Mr. Chairman, case number 2462, the request of Lesler Lumber located at 2008 Marietta Avenue, Lancaster, PA 17603. Make a motion to grant the request for a special exception to section 270-6.6A to expand a non-conforming use / structure grant their request for a variance to section 270 3.8E6 to exceed the 50% lot coverage to allow for total lot coverage of 82.67%. Grant a variance to section 270-6.6B to allow for nonconformity limited to the lot of record, which would allow the addition of the residential property to the existing commercial property of 0.52 acres for a total of 8.23 acres. The variance to section 270-6.6G to increase an existing nonconformity increase the lot size from 7.7 acres to 8.23 acres, and to increase variance to section 270-3.8E8 to allow the maximum building area, which is only allowable of 5,000 feet, to increase to 66,966 feet, an increase of 51,000 or 5,100 square feet.
Conditions.
With the following conditions. Number one are standard conditions. Number two, the current owners or any owners in the future cannot add any more residential zone property to this particular parcel. Number three, signs are to be placed around the property to direct customer traffic to the Good Drive entrance on the southeast side of the property. And number four, any future increases of buildings cannot increase lot coverage.
Okay, see if I got this.
You can say what he said.
Hopefully Sharon, Cheryl didn't take it down too close. Okay, motion by Mr. Hanson, case number 2462. Lezer Lumber, 2008 Marietta Avenue, Lancaster, PA 17603. To grant a special exception to section 276.6A to allow for the expansion of a non-conforming use. Variance to section 273.8E6 allow to exceed the 50% lot coverage, allowable lot coverage to 82.67%. Grant the variance to 276.6B that the nonconformity to the lot of record, increase the nonconformity lot of record from 0.5 acres to a total of 8.23 acres. Variance to section 276.6G to increase the nonconformity from 7.71 acres to 8.23 acres, an increase of 0.52 acres to the lot. A variance to section 273.8E8 to allow for the maximum billable of from 5,000 square feet to a total of 66,966 square feet from the existing 61,866 square feet, resulting in only an increase of 5,100 square feet in building area. With the following conditions. One, standard conditions this board places on all decisions. Two, that the existing property owners or any future property owners cannot add any additional residential property to the existing property. Three, signs shall be placed around property to direct customers to the good drive entrance to the property. And four, future increases to building or structures cannot increase the overall lot coverage on the property. Gentlemen, you heard the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Luce. Any discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none. Mr. Hanson,
In favor.
Mr. Luce,
In favor.
Mr. Kyle,
In favor.
Mr. Bingham,
In favor.
and I'll also vote in favor. Your request for the special exception and variances have been granted with the conditions so stated. Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
How'd I do?
You good? You did pretty good.
No, I'm honored. That would have been one of those days I did, what he said right
Even
there.
with the chicken scratch.
Trying to get through that was a pain in the butt. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you, sir. Okay. Cheryl. I'm not Cheryl. Beth. Sorry, Cheryl. I'm just seeing if you're on your toes. Beth, the next case, please.
Case number 2465, Luz Font, 2645 Columbia Avenue, seeking a 6-month time extension for a temporary use permit.
Okay. Is Mr. Font here or his or her representative? You just, yeah, lower that, please.
Hi, my name is Luz. I'm the owner of the food truck, Isla Borinquen.
Excuse me, can I have your name again?
Luz,
Ruth?
Loose.
Okay, Luce.
LUZ.
Oh, okay, Luce. Thank you. And excuse me for saying Mr. I didn't know Luce was a male or female, so I apologize.
I wrote it down here. It's okay to me to read it, but I want to say.
You can take that out if you need to.
Yeah, you can take it out if you are more comfortable holding it. Just, there
Okay,
you go.
can I hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You good, Cheryl? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. I want to say that thank you for take the time to meet with me. I'm the owner, Isla Borinquen. My food truck is a dream, a come true that I always wanted for so long. And thank you, God, that I had the opportunity. I'm here just because I want to ask for another extension because I know my permit is expire in September. And I do want to continue to serve my food to the people that miss their home Every time that I do the food and people stop by my food truck, I love how they smile. I love how the community come by to try, different culture. And especially people that miss their home from where they from. So I just wanna, if they can, how I say, give me the opportunity to get another 6 months to continue to serve the community. And, so. Yeah, just wanna, thank you again for meet with me and here today.
Okay.
I'm sorry, a little nervous, but I'll try and do my best.
One thing I have to do before we go any further, because I didn't do it. Is there anyone in the audience or on Zoom that wants to be a party to this case? Seeing none, so I apologize for that. So, gentlemen, questions, the applicant. Mr. Hanson,
Couple questions for you. In your submittal, you said you're gonna request the hours of 9 AM, to 12 AM. Do you really have that much business late at night?
I'm sorry.
In your application, you said your hours that you're requesting would be 9 AM to 12 AM.
Yes, if it's a possible, I would love to spend hours, to like 8 in the morning to, midnight.
Really get business at midnight, or
What?
do you get business at midnight?
Yeah,
Okay. What property is this that you're leasing?
the location is in 2645 Columbia Avenue.
Is there a business there?
Yeah, they're not open yet. There's it calls, I believe, Pasta Plus.
Okay.
I saw the sign that it said they are going open soon, but they are serviced in another location like Markin, like Root and other places, but they prepare the food there, but they remodeled the restaurant there.
Now this extension is only good for 6 months. What do you plan to do after that period?
What I'm planning after,
After this, if the board were to grant you the 6 months extension, what are you gonna do once that 6 months is up?
just to keep growing and keep serving, the community, and making more dishes, for people try my cooking.
Okay, thank you.
It was a sub place right there.
anything else, Mr. Hanson?
Nope.
One quick question. The business that's there right now, I did see recently they were sold. When are they planning on opening? The new owners?
They don't say the day, but I know they have a sign outside, that I noticed that last week where they said coming soon, but I don't know what
Okay.
day they are going open.
What is the plan if they open
I
in a couple months for
believe-
you in that situation? Would they still allow you to be there or you signed?
I would think that there shouldn't be no problem because when I was looking for a spot, the owner was talking to the person who rented that spot. And we meet up and they said it was fine. That's why they allow me to, a space in the parking lot.
I'm done.
Anything? Mr. Bingham, do you have any questions?
Only what are her feelings about what happens when this 6 months, if it is granted, runs out?
You understand his question? He's asking a question similar to Mr. Hanson. What are your plans after if the board grants you this extension of 6 months? What are your plans after that?
Well, continuing, with my dream. I know there's regulation just to keep doing, when the time comes to still looking for either another extension or just get another location, just to continue to serve with the community.
Well, under the ordinance, we can't give you another extension. The ordinance is very specific that you get 1 6-month extension, which is what we're considering tonight. So you basically will have to vacate this property. And, as you said, I guess, look for another place or either within the township or somewhere, but the ordinance does not allow us to give more than 1 extension. John, anything else?
No, thank you. That's what I wanted to make sure that the applicant was aware of.
Okay. Beth,
I was under the understanding they can get 2 6-month time extensions.
not the way I read it. I don't know, we can. Jason, you want to give a opinion?
I don't know, the owner of the coffee shop outside Deja Vu or whatever was here before the board twice. And they got 2 extensions.
Well. Didn't we have this discussion back then too? Same thing, that it's not that clear.
The other one that was down by,
It's the one that, Yellow Goose.
yeah. Yes.
John, Jason is looking something up at this point. Page 145.
I think they only get 1 extension. Had that discussion before
Yeah.
over on Rivertown Road. They got their 1 extension.
Yeah. How much could we suppose to have because of the lot coverage or whatever, but that wasn't permanent, and that's why they got the first variance. And the second was the extension. That's how I remember it.
So it says, the zoning hearing board may, subject to all regulations for the issuance of special exception elsewhere specified, direct the zoning officer to issue a permit for a period not to exceed 6 months. And then such permits may be extended not more than once for an additional period of 6 months. So I think this would be the directing the zoning officer to issue a 6-month permit. And then an applicant could come back for a 6-month extension. That's how we handled it for the coffee truck.
I think that's the way we handle it for the place on Roarstown Road also.
It is.
Yes.
They were here twice as well.
Clarification.
Yeah, it's one thing, Beth, you might want to tell when they do a revision to the ordinance to make it clear. If they want it to be 2 times for the board to make sure that it's clear that way, that it's granted originally and then 2 times. So I basically stand corrected. What I said to you, after 6 months, you could apply again. But I guess what Mr. Bingham was saying, that you do know that this is a limited time somewhere along the line. So, And-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay. Anything else, John?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I also want to mention it, I'm just a little nervous, but besides what I said, I also, if my next step dream too is just to find like a, spot, like a small restaurant, So that's my second goal, But sometimes it's hard to find that spot, so at least start it for me.
Understand. Okay, anything else you want to add? Is any other questions? Jason, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Yeah, do you have a lease with the property owner for the food truck?
lease that I have, it just, according how we have, with the permit that I have in here.
Okay,
But, I'm pretty sure he's not, no problem. He's aware about, the extension and he's okay that, keep it posted, let him know what everything that he can, he can help me.
okay. So the property owner is okay with you getting the permit, is okay with you being there as long as the board allows it?
Mhm. The other person with the rent of the property, they're okay also too. So they're okay as long as I can stay there.
Okay.
Right. Well, no, what you had said on there is a good reminder on there that this permit extension is only good for that location. Should the landowner decide no longer the other place is going to be opening, I don't want you here, then this extension does not go beyond that location. So you'd have to get another permit for some other place. I just wanted you to be aware of that. That's all I have.
Anything else, Jason?
No, I have nothing further.
Beth? Anyone in the audience and or on Zoom have questions for the applicant? Seeing or hearing none? Anyone in the audience or on Zoom have comments pro or con to this application? Seeing none or hearing none. Anything else you'd like to add at this time, ma'am? Okay. Okay, gentlemen. At this time, we will conclude testimony in case number 2465. There is no administrative notice and or exhibits except for the application. So I will listen to a motion if there is one at this time, gentlemen.
Chairman, in case number 2465, request of, I'll butcher this, but Louise Font for extension or special exception to section 270-9.3A16B to allow for a 6-month extension for a temporary permit for her food truck at property located at 2645 Columbia Avenue, Lancaster, PA 17603. Make a motion to grant that request.
Conditions?
Standard.
Excuse me. Motion by Mr. Hanson in case number 2465 by Liz Font to grant the special exception to 270-9.3A16B to grant a 6-month extension for a temporary permit for a food truck at 2645 Columbia Avenue, Lancaster 17603, with the standard conditions this board places on all applications. Do I have a second, gentlemen?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Kyle. Discussion? Seeing them, Mr. Hanson,
In favor.
Mr. Luce,
In favor.
Mr. Kyle,
In favor.
Mr. Bingham,
In favor.
and I also vote in favor. Your request, ma'am, for a 6-month extension has been granted.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're quite welcome. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Sturgis,
Yes, sir.
could you call me tomorrow about food truck permits? I got a couple suggestions for you.
I sure can.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, Beth. Next case.
Case number 2466, WP Real Estate Holdings LLC, 198 Chickies Road, seeking a variance to visual screening landscaping.
Okay, is somebody here from WP Real Estate Holdings LLC?
Hi, I'm Joyce Gerhart with RGS Associates.
I'm
And
sorry,
with
what
me
was the
also
name?
tonight is Patrick Kane from WP Real Estate Holdings.
Okay, and your name was again?
Joyce Gerhart.
Oh, Joyce Gilhart. Okay. Excuse me. Anyone in the audience or on Zoom that wants to be a party to this case? Seeing none and hearing none. Scalehart, would you like to present your case, please?
Sure. We're requesting a variance for the screening requirements for the property located at 198 Chickies Road. It's east of the intersection with Spooky Nook Road. The property is approximately 2.25 acres. But as you can see on the plan, it's rather odd shaped and kind of long and narrow. So we're requesting that the screening buffer be, that we have a variance of the screening buffer. The applicant is proposing a facility that's for facilities management. So they do the landscaping, the snow removal, the parking lot repairs, all those sorts of things for different companies and municipalities around the state in the Pennsylvania, Maryland, New Jersey area. They have several locations, and so they try to have locations that are local so that they can serve the local businesses that they have contracts with. So this would be a local for Lancaster County and this region. It's very conveniently located near 283. So that gives them the opportunity to get to many of the places they need to get to. The property currently has a house that has a previous special exception, I believe it was, to have 2 units in that dwelling. There's a pool and there's an outbuilding also. The pool in the house will be going away. The outbuilding is proposed to remain. And Beth, could you go to the next sheet in the plan set?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Trying to pull up the overview. Keep
Go.
going.
Yep, thank you. It's an 8,000 square foot building and employee parking, and then there's a fenced in yard that would be a loading area. There would be parking for trucks that have a trailer attached, and there's also parking for area that is just the tractor part of it, not without the trailer associated with it. The if we have additional screening that pushes the paving in between the Amtrak right of way and the Chickies Road right of way, it squeezes it 20 more feet. And as you can see, it's already kind of tight for the maneuverability of the trucks in that yard area. What is labeled there as the storage yard area. So that's why we're asking for the variance of the screening requirement. And that's really all due to the shape of the lot. As we were talking, if this was a square property, we would not be here tonight asking for the variance. And I can answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, gentlemen, questions? Mr. Hanson?
This Gerard. So you're saying that you want no screening here and that you can't fit any screening in between the property line and the setback line?
We could put screening within that 10-foot. The ordinance actually requires a 20-foot buffer for the enterprise up against enterprise zone. So we could reduce it to 10-foot if that would be the board's wish.
The other thing you could do here is, and I know the township, and feel free to jump in here, township. They do require special certain varieties of trees for screening. But one of the things we could do is give you a variance to allow you to plant arborvitae, which would easily fit within that 10-foot. My issue here is the reason for the screening is because of residential, which is right here on Main Street.
Yes, it is on the other side of Main Street there.
And any noise or dust or anything coming off that property, there's nothing to block it.
Yeah, we have no problem putting landscape screening in that 10-foot if that's your desire. We are just asking for the variance because right now the ordinance requires it to be a 20-foot, which would squeeze us 10 more feet in both directions.
Next question. Number 2 item of the granting of variance says because it sets physical circumstances or conditions, there is no possibility that the property can be developed in strict conformity with the provisions of this chapter. I don't see anything that would prevent this property from being developed to the requirements of the enterprise zone. So what's your,
What I would say to that is the enterprise zone allows for uses that have tractor trailers. It could not be developed with a use that allows the tractor trailers because of the maneuverability of the tractor trailers.
there's other uses in there. The number 3 says that such unnecessary hardship has not been created by the appellate. Your client bought the property. He created the problem by buying the property.
I'm not sure that that's what that requirement means, but
To this particular board, that's what that requirement means. I mean, we hear this all the time by businesses saying, well, we can't develop this, or this because of the uniqueness of the property. You bought the property. Don't come to me telling me that you can't develop it because of the uniqueness. You looked at the property, you knew that it was an irregular shaped property and went ahead and bought it anyway. I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I would willing to give you a variance allowing you to go 10 feet and put in arborvitae as opposed to other required screening. If the township would concur with that. Does the township have a position on that, Beth?
And township staff was generally supportive of reducing the screening requirements here. We discussed with them coming before you guys to make their request.
One of the things I was thinking of, Nate, is last year over there on off of Route 72, they put that solar farm in. And we gave them a variance from the required screening to allow for arborvitae.
I do recall that, yes.
Arborvitae would easily fit within your 10-foot buffer.
Yes, sir. They would.
All the questions I have.
Any other questions, gentlemen? No. John, do you have any questions of the applicant?
No, no questions. I tend to agree with what's where the discussion is headed.
Okay, thank you. I am just looking and I don't know what I did with it. I looked up a case which basically follows on the statements that Mr. Hansen had gone through with the variance, where the Commonwealth Court had stated that as long as a property can be developed in accordance with the ordinance, it does not necessarily mean that an applicant can get asked for a variance just because for economic purposes, it would benefit the applicant. So I happen to, based on that court case, which dealt with a car dealership where the car dealer wanted variances from a setback requirement so that he could have more area in his front of his property to display his cars in accordance with what the car manufacturer wanted, and pleaded the hardship. So I think in the same condition here, as Mr. Hansen said, that this property, it's not unknown what that shape of that property is. And if the applicant wants to use that property, it's not the property's fault that it does not necessarily suit the applicant. So if the applicant, I would go along with Mr. Hansen's suggestion that you still have to meet the township's requirements for a live screening along that southern edge, but reduce the 20 feet to 10 feet. I mean, if that is agreeable to the applicant, and at this point, I think we can proceed. Proceed, forward.
That's agreeable.
Okay.
Application.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to modify the application in a second, and we'll do that. With that, if there's no other questions, Jason,
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Beth,
No.
anybody in the audience and or on Zoom that has a question of the applicant? Seeing none. Anyone in the audience and or on Zoom that has comments, pro or con, to this application? Seeing or hearing none. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I do have one question. What,
yes,
if I may, what was the gentleman's name from WP Holdings,
At Kane,
Pat Kane, okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this is Cindy Schweitzer. Just a comment on behalf of the township. Like Mr. Sturgis indicated, the township does support this request. We also support the 10-foot. We just ask that there's no conditions made on it in terms of type of landscaping. Allow that to be the decision of the landscape architect.
As long, would you agree, Cindy, that as long as it's a reasonable height? And that, I mean, my neighbor just planted some, I guess there are arborvitaes that are about 1.5 feet tall.
That would be fine as long as it, in terms of height, yes. It makes sense.
So,
I think
as long
so.
as we
Sorry.
sort of understand that it's gonna be a reasonable height of a couple feet, I mean, at 1.5 feet, I think by the time those arborvitaes are up to be a screen in my neighbor's yard, all the neighbors will either have passed on or moved out of the neighborhood. So understand and I appreciate the comments.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything you would like to, Ms. Gayheart, add?
No, thank you.
Okay, at this time then, gentlemen, we will include testimony in case number 2466. There are no administrative notices and no exhibits. Oh, yes, administrative notice, excuse me. Case number 493 will be admitted to the record. There are no additional exhibits. We also, at the request of the applicant, amend the application in case number 2426 or 2466, excuse me. Two things. One is that the application is requesting a 10-foot variance from the 20-foot required on the south side of the property. And also on the application appeal number, the number 2466 will be added. With that, gentlemen, I'll listen to a motion if there is one at this time on case number 2466.
Mr. Chairman, case number 2466. The request of WP Real Estate Holdings LLC for property located, the request of Pat Kane for property located at 198 Chickies Road, Lansville, PA, 17538. Make a motion to grant the variance to section 274-4.13, granting a 10-foot variance to the required 20-foot requirement for screening setback and our standard conditions. Also, as a second condition, the township will meet with the applicant to determine the size of the screening.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Hanson in case number 2466, request of Pat Kane for the property at 198 Chickies Road, Landisville, PA, 17538, to grant a variance to section 270-4.13 17.13 to allow for a 10-foot variance from the required 20-foot visual screening landscaping provisions on the south side of the property, correct?
Yes.
With the following conditions: one, are standard conditions we place on all applications, and two, that the applicant will meet with the township to determine the appropriate size for the visual landscaping screen. Do I have a second, gentlemen?
Quick question. Do we need to vote first on the application being changed? Or can that be just amended and then voted on?
Approve the amendment.
Yeah, we should have,
Approve the amendment just to make that.
could have spoken up.
I just thought of that. as
Oh,
a thing.
man, now I'm gonna have to do this whole thing.
No, you don't.
Uh,
You can just-
Mr. Herr,
Yes,
and I have a question. You were saying on the south side, the request we had made was for on all sides, not just on the south side?
oh. I thought it was the south side. Mr. Hanson.
I will amend my motion to allow for screening only on the south side of the property. Because your residences are over here on the south side.
Are you saying you wanted the variance for
and
the,
grant your variance for no screening on the.
Oh, on the other sides.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Right, so let me just be clear on it. So they're granting the variances so that they don't have to provide any screening on the other three sides.
On the north side.
west?
The west side and the east side, but the full south side is to be screened.
Okay, with the variance of 10 feet.
Yes.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Does that answer your
Yes.
question?
Yes.
Okay, can you just remove your request for a second?
Sure.
Okay. Now, gentlemen, we have a request of the applicant to amend the application. One, to put the appeal number on the application, and two, to stipulate that the amendment to section 270-4.13 visual screening would be that there be no screening on the west, north, and east sides of the property, and that on the south side, there be a 10-foot variance. Can I have that as a motion, gentlemen?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Luce, second by Mr. Hanson, amend the application. Any discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, Mr. Hanson,
In favor.
Mr. Luce,
In favor?
Mr. Cobb.
In favor.
Mr. Bingham,
In favor.
and I also vote in favor. The application has been amended. Now, there is a motion by Mr. Hanson in case number 2466. Request of Pat Kane for property at 198 Chickies Road, Lansville, 17538.
Actually, let me correct something here. The correct owner of the property is, and the request is by WP Real Estate Holdings, correct? So that's instead of Pat Kane.
Okay,
Pat Kane is the president, but
okay. The request of WP Real Estate Holdings LLC then. For the property at 198 Chickies Road, Landisville, 17538. To grant a variance to section 270-4.13 visual screening landscaping for the following variances. One, no, that the requirement for a 20-foot setback be removed to 0 for a 20-foot variance on the west, north, and east sides. 2, for variance from the same section for a 10-foot variance from the 20-foot for requirement for the south side of the property to include a visual screening landscape with the 1 condition, standard conditions we apply, and 2, that the applicant will meet with the township determine size of the visual screening.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Luce. Discussion, gentlemen? Seeing none, Mr. Hanson,
In favor.
Mr. Luce,
In favor?
Mr. Kyle,
In favor.
Mr. Bingham,
In favor.
and I also vote in favor. Your request for variance as amended in the application has been granted with the stated conditions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Beth, any other business this evening?
No,
Next month,
nothing.
when's your last day? To, not your last, day, your last day to accept applications.
Didn't know about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Friday.
You didn't know about that either because of the look
No.
on your face. No,
We're gonna
I
have
meant
to
for
talk,
receiving
Nate.
applications. Hope Cindy isn't listening. Okay, so normally, ladies and gentlemen, the just so we're, it would be the 18th of September. If there is any, is you okay, Cheryl?
No, it was
Good
last
call.
Friday.
Last Friday,
It
right?
was
So we don't have a
last
meeting.
Friday. There are none for September.
Oh, it was last Friday.
Yeah,
I thought you meant this Friday.
no.
Oh, well, then we don't have a meeting next month, ladies and gentlemen.
Happy
So, yeah, so September. So with that, I want to thank everyone on Zoom. Thank you, John. Thank you. This
No problem.
meeting stands adjourned. Okay,
Usually it's the, have a nice September.
yeah, me too. Oh.
That's what it's beginning of school. I'm sobering the wife up.
Sobering your